Hello and welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Gwen.
And I'm Leo. Today, we're diving into a topic that's all about interest.
And how it's not always as interesting as you think.
That's right. We're exploring the habit of only doing things when you feel interested. Is it the secret to happiness?
Or is it just procrastination in disguise?
Spoiler alert, it's both.
Stick around because we'll break down the pros, the cons, and how you can live your best life without relying solely on inspiration.
All right, let's get into it. Gwen, do you agree that following your interests feels like living the dream?
Of course. But because there is a reason for it,
What's that?
Stanford University researchers have found that people who enjoy what they're doing tend to be more creative and productive.
How come?
When you're doing something you're interested in, your brain releases dopamine.
Is dopamine the feel-good chemical?
Yep. And think about it. When you're feeling good, you're more likely to come up with new ideas and work harder.
So basically, it's like when you're doing something you love and it just feels like time is flying by, right?
Exactly. Interest fuels creativity, boosts productivity, and even makes tasks feel less like work.
And honestly, when you're interested, you're unstoppable.
But let's be real. Not everything is exciting forever.
That's true.
And that's where things get tricky. Here's the flip side. Waiting for interest can be a trap.
A trap?
So, if you only rely on feeling interested, it's easy to put things off until the last minute.
And that could mean missing deadlines or not getting things done at all.
That's what I want to say. It can lead to procrastination and missed opportunities.
So relying solely on interest is not the best way to get things done, right?
Right?
But what about creativity? Wouldn't forcing it kill the magic?
Actually, no. The more consistent effort you put in, the more creative you become.
How does that even work?
It's like building muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get.
So, if you're waiting for that eureka moment, you might be waiting a long time.
Let's say that.
Well, remember folks, don't wait for your inspiration to hit.
Yep, and your goals will thank you later.
But Gwen, isn't it hard to start doing something that you're not interested in?
It is. That's why one must find their motivation beyond their own interests.
Please hit us with the wisdom.
It's all about connecting tasks to a bigger purpose.
Can you elaborate?
Think about the benefits for your future self or how it helps others.
Does that really help?
Well, it seems to make sense, especially considering self-determination theory.
What's self-determination theory?
This theory, developed by psychologists Edward D.C. and Richard Ryan, suggests that when tasks align with personal values, you're more likely to stick with them.
So, how can I find the motivation to study for a test?
Let's think about it as a way to move forward in life.
But what if my big goal is just naps?
Well, maybe your bigger goal should be something more productive first, then reward yourself with a nap afterward.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some new phrases today. First, come up with something. It means to think of or create an idea or solution. For example, we need to come up with a plan for the party.
Second, put something off. It means to delay or postpone doing something. For example, I always put off doing my homework until the last minute.
Third, rely on something. It means to depend on something or trust it to work. For example, I rely on my phone to keep track of my schedule.
Fourth, hit someone with something. It means to surprise someone with unexpected news or information. For example, he hit me with the news that he's moving to another country.
Finally, stick with something. It means to continue doing something even if it's hard. For example, I'll stick with learning English no matter what. Now, let's discuss two questions about our topic.
First question, what can happen if you wait for interest to do something? For me, waiting for interest can lead to procrastination, missed deadlines, and uncompleted tasks. What about you, Leo?
I agree. You might keep delaying the work until it's too late and end up feeling stressed.
Second question, how can you stay motivated to do something you're not interested in?
I think you can stay motivated by connecting it to a bigger purpose, like how it helps your future self or others.
Exactly. When you think about the benefits, it makes it easier to stay on track.
What do you think, listeners?
Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Gwen, you know it's always easier said than done, right?
And that's where discipline comes in. When your motivation dips, discipline helps you keep going.
So, you're saying discipline is like the backup plan when my excitement runs out?
I like your comparison. Discipline is what helps you keep moving forward, even when you're not feeling inspired.
How do we even do that?
Setting up a routine might be good. You don't have to think about it too much. You just show up, do the work, and the consistency builds over time.
I guess by doing that, we're less likely to get distracted by our moods or lack of interest.
Yep, it's about doing what needs to be done, even when it's not thrilling.
So, I have this routine of eating my vegetables first in every meal. Is that considered discipline?
I think so. At least your digestive system will be grateful.
You're not wrong. And I also notice that once my habit is in place, progress becomes easier.
Right, just steady, consistent effort and you'll see the results.
But I don't want to give up my hobbies.
Who said you had to?
You told me not to wait for my interest to strike.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to ditch them completely. It's all about finding a balance.
What do you mean by balance?
Well, a study by Stanford University found that people who balance work and leisure tend to be more productive and creative.
So, do you mean we must follow our interests without ignoring responsibilities?
Yep,
That sounds tough.
it's about managing your time effectively.
So, how do you manage your time effectively?
I divide my day into blocks of time for work, hobbies, and rest.
So, you mean like planning out chunks of time for specific tasks?
Of course, in that way, you're more likely to keep everything in check.
How does that work?
By organizing your time, you ensure you're giving attention to both your work and your passions.
So, it's a way to stay productive while still having time for fun stuff?
Pretty much. It's the best approach, in my opinion.
But what if I just schedule more free time?
Then you'll need to schedule an intervention.
Fair enough. But Gwen, don't you think some tasks can be really boring? And it's hard to do them without getting bored.
Like what?
Like folding laundry.
Hey, doing laundry is not boring at all.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I guess you're right about that. Some mundane tasks feel like a chore unless I can make them more interesting.
Drop your tips, Gwen. How do you make them more interesting?
One thing that works for me is turning them into a game.
Can you elaborate?
Like when I clean my room, I pretend it's a race to see how fast I can finish, just to make it feel less, boring.
I must admit that's a great way to make it more fun.
You can also add music or a podcast to the mix. Suddenly, it doesn't feel as much like work.
I did that a few times. I was doing something productive, but I was also getting to enjoy my favorite singer's new releases.
Same here. I often go to Spotify, put on my favorite playlist, and make it like a mini dance party while I clean.
Definitely makes it less painful.
And sometimes it's not even about the task itself.
If so, what's it about then?
It's about the way you approach it.
I'm not sure I get what you mean.
What I mean is that if you change your mindset and see it as a chance to practice focus or improve efficiency, it might actually feel more rewarding.
That's a solid point. But I have this one better idea, though.
What idea?
What if I just never fold laundry again and embrace the wrinkled look?
All right. Let's move on before you lose all credibility. Leo, do you know that successful people are often characterized by their strong habits and routines?
Really?
Yep. A study by Duke University found that those habits help them stay focused, productive, and motivated.
So, success isn't just about passion, right?
Correct. It's about habits. The little things you do every day really add up.
Sounds about right.
Leo, keep this in mind. Success is not about having a big, dramatic moment, but rather about consistent effort.
It's hard to imagine small habits can lead us to success.
Well, just think about brushing your teeth. You don't think much about it, but it keeps your teeth healthy. It's the same with your goals.
I guess those little things really do matter.
So, if you spent 10 minutes a day learning a new skill, it wouldn't seem like much. But after a year, you would be pretty good at it.
Well, I guess I'm one step closer to greatness then if I can keep brushing my teeth and learning Spanish.
You're on the right track, Leo. The more you stick to these habits, the easier it gets to stay on track and make progress.
Success, here I come.
Keep up the good work, and you'll see results before you know it.
All right, Gwen, let's look at some new keywords and phrases related to building up habits.
First, easier said than done. It means that something sounds simple, but it's difficult to actually do. For example, it's easier said than done to quit a bad habit.
Second, run out of something. It means you don't have any left of something. For example, we ran out of milk, so I couldn't make coffee this morning.
Third, set up something. It means to arrange or prepare something. For example, I need to set up the meeting room before the guests arrive.
Fourth, speak for oneself. It means to express your own opinion, not someone else's. For example, I can speak for myself when it comes to making decisions.
Finally, be on the right track. It means to be doing something in the correct way. For example, your research is great. You're definitely on the right track.
All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
Sure, what is it?
How do you suggest making boring tasks more interesting?
I suggest turning them into a game or adding music or a podcast to make them more fun.
That's a great way to make chores feel less boring. Now, your turn to ask me a question.
Okay, Leo. How do you manage your time effectively?
I divide my day into blocks of time for work, hobbies, and rest.
Sounds like a great way to stay organized and balanced.
All right, Gwen, we've had such a productive discussion today about how to complete tasks regardless of our interest.
You're right, Leo. I hope our listeners feel inspired to take action and make some positive changes.
Me too. Remember, even small steps can lead to big progress over time.
And don't forget, you can download the free PDF we mentioned earlier.
Yes, just click the link in the description or comments and make a copy so you can edit it yourself.
It's a great way to personalize the tips we talked about today and put them into action.
Thank you all for joining us on today's episode of Podcast and Chill.
Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and tell us what works best for you.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and keep making progress, one step at a time.